Genesis 17. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am Almighty God, walk before me and be blameless. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram, and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. Then Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying. As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. No longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come from you. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be God to you and your descendants after you. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. Also I give to you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said to Abraham, As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you throughout their generations. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant therefore, thou, and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep, between me and you and your descendants after you, every male child among you shall be circumcised. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep, between me and you and thy seed after thee, every man-child among you shall be circumcised. And you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male child in your generations, he who is born in your house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not your descendant. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. He who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child, who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people, he has broken my covenant. And the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people, he hath broken my covenant. Then God said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and also give you a son by her, then I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations, kings of peoples shall be from her. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her, yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations, kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? Then Abraham fell upon his face, and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear? And Abraham said to God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. And Abraham said unto God, O that Ishmael might live before thee. Then God said, No, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his descendants after him. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. He shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee, behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly, 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at this set time next year. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Then he finished talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. So Abraham took Ishmael his son, all who were born in his house and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskins that very same day, as God had said to him. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as God had said unto him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. That very same day Abraham was circumcised, and his son Ishmael. In the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house or bought with money from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. Genesis 18. Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him, and when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and, lo, 3 men stood by him, and when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground. And said, My Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant. And said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a morsel of bread, that you may refresh your hearts. After that you may pass by, inasmuch as you have come to your servant. They said, Do as you have said. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts, after that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do, as thou hast said. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, Quickly, make ready 3 measures of fine meal, knead it and make cakes. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran to the herd, took a tender and good calf, gave it to a young man, and he hastened to prepare it. And Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. So he took butter and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree as they ate. And he took butter, and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Then they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? So he said, Here, in the tent. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return to you according to the time of life, and behold, Sarah your wife shall have a son. Sarah was listening in the tent door which was behind him. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and, lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I surely bear a child, since I am old? And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh. Then the men rose from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the men rose up from thence, and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? For I have known him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous. I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know. I will go down now, and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And the men turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? And Abraham drew near, and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city, would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city, wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked, far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? So the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. Then Abraham answered and said, Indeed now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. And Abraham answered and said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Suppose there were 5 less than the 50 righteous, would you destroy all of the city for lack of 5? So he said, If I find there 45, I will not destroy it. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous, wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, Suppose there should be 40 found there? So he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, Peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. Then he said, Let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak, suppose 30 should be found there? So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said unto him, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak, peradventure there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it, if I find 30 there. And he said, Indeed now, I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord, suppose 20 should be found there? So he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. And he said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. Then he said, Let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak but once more, suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. And he said, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once, peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. And the Lord went his way, as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. Matthew 17. Now after 6 days Jesus took Peter, James, and John his brother, led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And after 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. And, behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Then answered Peter, and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, and were sore afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise, and do not be afraid. And Jesus came and touched them, and said, Arise, and be not afraid. When they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man, save Jesus only. Now as they came down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? Jesus answered and said to them, Indeed, Elijah is coming first and will restore all things. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come, and restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah has come already, and they did not know him but did to him whatever they wished. Likewise the Son of Man is also about to suffer at their hands. But I say unto you, that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of him. Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of John the Baptist. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. And when they had come to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers severely, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed, for ofttimes he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him here to me. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why could we not cast it out? Then came the disciples to Jesus apart, and said, Why could not we cast him out? So Jesus said to them, Because of your unbelief, for assuredly, I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Now while they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, The Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men. And while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men. And they will kill him, and the third day he will be raised up. And they were exceedingly sorrowful. And they shall kill him, and the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. When they had come to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, Does your teacher not pay the temple tax? And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter, and said, Doth not your master pay tribute? He said, Yes. And when he had come into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes, from their sons or from strangers? He saith, Yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers? Peter said to him, From strangers. Jesus said to him, Then the sons are free. Peter saith unto him, Of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, Then are the children free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast in a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened its mouth, you will find a piece of money, take that and give it to them for me and you. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast an hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money, that take, and give unto them for me and thee. Matthew 18. At that time the disciples came to Jesus, saying, Who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven? At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Then Jesus called a little child to him, set him in the midst of them. And Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them. And said, Assuredly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. And said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Therefore whoever humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one little child like this in my name receives me. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck, and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe to the world because of offenses! For offenses must come, but woe to that man by whom the offense comes. Woe unto the world because of offenses! For it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. If your hand or foot causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. It is better for you to enter into life lame or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet, to be cast into the everlasting fire. Wherefore if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off, and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. It is better for you to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes, to be cast into hell fire. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire. Take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I say to you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep, and one of them goes astray, does he not leave the 99 and go to the mountains to seek the one that is straying? How think ye? If a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99, and goeth into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if he should find it, assuredly, I say to you, he rejoices more over that sheep than over the 99 that did not go astray. And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep, than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so it is not the will of your Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Even so it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven, that one of these little ones should perish. Moreover, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear, take with you 1 or 2 more, that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he refuses to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he refuses even to hear the church, let him be to you like a heathen and a tax collector. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church, but if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. Assuredly, I say to you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say to you that if 2 of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Again I say unto you, that if 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? Then came Peter to him, and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you, up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee, until 7 times, but, until 70 times 7. Therefore the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to settle accounts, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But as he was not able to pay, his master commanded that he be sold, with his wife and children and all that he had, and that payment be made. But forasmuch as he had not to pay, his lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down before him, saying, Master, have patience with me, and I will pay you all. The servant therefore fell down, and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion, released him, and forgave him the debt. Then the lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me what you owe. But the same servant went out, and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence, and he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. So his fellow servant fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay you all. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and threw him into prison till he should pay the debt. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison, till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what had been done, they were very grieved, and came and told their master all that had been done. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their lord all that was done. Then his master, after he had called him, said to him, You wicked servant! I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. Then his lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desiredst me. Should you not also have had compassion on your fellow servant, just as I had pity on you? Shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his master was angry, and delivered him to the torturers until he should pay all that was due to him. And his lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So my heavenly Father also will do to you if each of you, from his heart, does not forgive his brother his trespasses. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother their trespasses. Psalms 9. I will praise you, O Lord, with my whole heart, I will tell of all your marvelous works. To the chief musician upon Matthew18, a psalm of David. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart, I will shew forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in you, I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. I will be glad and rejoice in thee, I will sing praise to thy name, O thou Most High. When my enemies turn back, they shall fall and perish at your presence. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For you have maintained my right and my cause, you sat on the throne judging in righteousness. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause, thou satest in the throne judging right. You have rebuked the nations, you have destroyed the wicked, you have blotted out their name forever and ever. Thou hast rebuked the heathen, thou hast destroyed the wicked, thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O enemy, destructions are finished forever. And you have destroyed cities, even their memory has perished. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities, their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever, he has prepared his throne for judgment. But the Lord shall endure forever, he hath prepared his throne for judgment. He shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall administer judgment for the peoples in uprightness. And he shall judge the world in righteousness, he shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And those who know your name will put their trust in you, for you, Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord, who dwells in Zion. Declare his deeds among the people. Sing praises to the Lord, which dwelleth in Zion, declare among the people his doings. When he avenges blood, he remembers them, he does not forget the cry of the humble. When he mocketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them, he forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Consider my trouble from those who hate me, you who lift me up from the gates of death. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me, thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. That I may tell of all your praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in your salvation. That I may shew forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion, I will rejoice in thy salvation. The nations have sunk down in the pit which they made, in the net which they hid, their own foot is caught. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment he executes, the wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth, the wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higgaion. Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, do not let man prevail, let the nations be judged in your sight. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail, let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah.